Hello, my name is Elena and this is my final presentation on my annotated bibliography. My topic's on psychopathy, antisocial personality, and crime, the effects these personality traits have on crime and repeat offending. So this is kind of just an overview of my topic. I start off with what has already been established in research. So it's been long established that psychopathic tendencies, antisocial personality disorders, and general personality disorders lead to higher criminality rates. There have been many research studies done analyzing and proving this correlation beyond a reasonable doubt, but I wanted to specifically research what could be what could further this research. There are less studies done on the specifics of how these personality disorders, with a focus on psychopathy and antisocial personality disorder, relate to crime, how the offender's childhood relationships affect their personality disorder, which lead to their criminal offenses, which aspects of psychopathy lead to high criminality, if psychopathic inmates possess certain traits like possess positive urgency/sensation seeking, how drugs relate to personality disorders and crime rates, what does reoffending and recidivism look like for people with personality disorders/psychopathic traits, how the individual's crime affects the offender after they've committed, and etc. So why this topic? I believe that incarceration does not solve the problem of crime/criminals. Oftentimes offenders have alternative reasons to committing crimes than just because they're evil people. I think that if more studies are done on the psychopathy or on the on the psychology of crime, then we can come up with better solutions to the criminal outbreak. So this was my first source. The title was Impulsivity in Antisocial Personality Disorder and Obsessive Compulsive Personality Disorder in Prison Populations. So this article fits well in my topic because it connects antisocial personality disorders with specific traits of offending individuals. Since personality disorders can look different in everyone, finding common personality traits/links between these individuals will make it easier to identify criminality. My second article was Not My Fault. Blame externalization is the psychopathic feature most associated with pathological delinquency among confined delinquents. So this article relates to my topic and that is more specific in the claim that psychopathy leads to higher criminality. Psychopathy looks different in every individual, so this narrows down my topic to include what exact personality traits are shared between psychopathic offenders. Being more specific in my research on which personality traits are linked to criminality strengthens my project overall. This is my third source. The relationship between personality disorders and the type of crime committed and substance use among prisoners. So this article relates to my topic because it delves further into the specifics of personality disorders and the crimes they can lead to. This article specifically focuses on the most common type of crime or a common factor between crimes of personality impaired individuals. This adds specifics to my argument and lets me hone in more on the what of personality disorders and crime. Again, this provides a link between different individuals to identify criminality. My next source is Psychopathy, Emotionality, and Offending. So this article relates to my topic because it delves deeper into how psychopathy affects criminality. Instead of only the likelihood of committing a crime, this article expands and questions how the individuals are affected by the events after the effect. It demonstrates the after effects on crime on individuals who are more likely to offend. This was my next source. So light triad traits of personality as moderators between the dark core of personality, psychopathy, and antisocial/criminality. This article directly relates to my topic, given that it looks for a link between dark personality features and criminality. I mentioned multiple times in my bibliography that psychopathic tendencies, which include dark personality traits, cause a greater likelihood for criminal behavior/offending. This article is in my project to demonstrate that research exists. It builds the basis of my research so that I can build off of it in more specific ways with the articles I include. My next source is Criminal Lifestyle Among Women Who Committed Crimes, the Role of Psychopathy. So I think this article fits into my category as my opposing viewpoint. Even though this isn't necessarily an argumentative essay, I believe that presenting the opposing view/research and using my other articles to combat the argument builds a stronger case for my hypothesis. Demonstrating which beliefs are true and which aren't regarding the assumptions of psychopathy/personality disorders and criminality demonstrates an understanding of a vast amount of research regarding the topic, not just research that proves a confirmation bias. My next article was Do Early Environmental Factors Influence the Relationship Between Psychopathy and Crime? Longitudinal Findings from the Transitions in Amsterdam Study. This article relates to my topic because it talks about how certain factors can lead to psychopathic tendencies, which can prospectively predict criminal offenses. My topic specifically regards how personality disorders, specifically psychopathy and antisocial behavior, affect criminality. These two topics are closely related, so it fits well in my bibliography. My next article was Criminal Recidivism in Offenders with Personality Disorders and Substance Use Disorders Over 8 Years of Time at Risk. This article relates to my topic because it focuses on the after for criminality. How likely is someone with a personality disorder to reoffend? This is important because it could change the way treatment and sentencing are done for people with personality disorders. This focuses on the after effects of individuals who are more likely to offend. Again, this helps identify and potentially predict criminality for researchers. So these are two course concepts that related to my research. The first one is how the book talks about how the format of questionnaire used in research should not be cluttered and overwhelming. I noticed that to succeed regarding this idea, the articles I observed mostly kept its questionnaires shorter. The questions also tended to be shorter and very direct. They also didn't leave the questions open-ended so as not to complicate the data and potentially confuse the participants. And the other course concept is closely related to that one. So it's like the question where select which response you agree with most on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. This type of answering/response co-aligns with the book's tips on format for respondents. The book suggests responses where respondents check a box, print a code number beside each box. So again, not to confuse participants. So most interesting finds. Number 1 is childhood factors. So research has shown that multiple childhood factors affect relationship between psychopathy and criminal behavior/violence. Factors like socioeconomic background, neighborhood economic deprivation, etc. These factors lead to personality traits such as egocentricity and callousness, which could predictively determine criminality. And then the second one is drug-related offending. So there was also a connection to drug use and psychopathic inmates. Nearly half of these inmates in specific prisons were addicts. Furthermore, most crimes committed by women suffering from a personality disorder were drug-related in some way. And that is the end of my presentation. I definitely would choose this topic again because I felt like I found some really cool things, and it just further proves some research that I have already done. Thank you so much for listening.